Hello everyone, welcome to Edubbey Global Solution. Today we'll be looking at the next chapter in your syllabus, which is money and banking. What do we know as money and what do we know as banking? Let us move to our slide where we have the first slide to be the definition and forms of money. Money can be defined as any item that is generally acceptable as a means of exchange and evidence of payment. Here we have the picture of money. Now, the three forms of money used in most countries are coins. We have coins, notes, and bank accounts. As we can all see here, we have the currency to be notes and also coins, and the deposit with bank. Now let us move to the next slide where we have one past question. What is the most important characteristic of money? According to our definition here, what do you think is the most important characteristic of money? Is it readily available? Is it portable? It has intrinsic value, or it is generally acceptable? Of course, it is generally acceptable. Now moving to the next slide where we now have the characteristic of money. We have acceptability, durability, portability, divisibility, stability, and homogeneity. Now we move to acceptability. For money should be generally acceptable by all individual, and we have durability. For any item to serve as money, it must be able to live longer as possible. Now we have portability. Any item that will serve as money we should be able to carry it along no matter where we are going. Now we have divisibility. It must be capable of divided into smaller units. And we have stability. That is, the value of money should not be something that will be changed significantly. And we have homogeneity. It must be recognized by everybody and in every country. Where we are moving to the next slide, we have the functions of money. Now, as we have the characteristic, we also have the functions of money. Money carries out four functions, which are medium of exchange, store of value, unit of account, and also standard of deferred payment. Now, moving to the medium of exchange. Money allows people to buy and sell products due to the exchange of legal tender. That is, we are referring to money that is regulated by law. Of course, money should serve as a medium of exchange. Now we have to serve as store of value. Money as a store of value means it can be saved or kept for a long period of time. That is durability characteristic. Now we have unit of account. Money as a unit of account or measure of value enables buyer and seller to agree on what items are worth relative to each other. And we have the standard of deferred payment. That is, money allows transaction to be made at some future date. Now we move to the next slide. We have one question here relating to the characteristic and function of money that we just did earlier. Now we have which role shows the characteristics of money and the function of money. At the same time, now let us check the options. We have the characteristic and we have the function. Now, cash. We have cash here and measure of value. Of course, measure of value is a function of money, but cash is not the characteristic of money. We have a store of value and bank deposit here. Store of value is not the characteristic, it's a function of money, while bank deposit is forms of money. We have divisibility to be characteristic and also portability to be characteristic of money. Here we have the acceptability to be the characteristic of money and medium of exchange to be the function. This is our answer. Of course, that's correct. Now let us move to the next slide. Moving to the next slide where we move to banking. As earlier I said, we will be discussing money and banking. Now we move to banking. Banking is an industry that handles cash, credit, and other financial transactions for individual, consumer, and business alike. Now we have commercial bank and central bank to discuss here. Now, what do we know as commercial bank. Commercial bank is a financial institution which accepts deposits from public and gives loan for the purpose of consumption and investment to make profit, where we have central bank to be a government-owned bank which provide banking service to the government and the commercial bank at the same time, and they also operate monetary policy. Now let us move to the next slide. Moving to the next slide, where we have the role and importance of commercial bank. Now, what are the roles and importance of commercial bank according to the definition? We have the three main functions of commercial bank. We have three main, but there are still a lot of importance or role of commercial bank. Now we have the first main function to be acceptance of deposits. Of course, commercial bank accepts deposits from customers to keep their money in a safe place, and also they provide loan to their customer. They accept deposits from those with more money and lend it to those with an immediate desire to spend more money than they have at hand. And it also enables customers to make payment. They also enable customers to receive money and make payment out of their account. Other functions by commercial banks are keeping of valuable items like jewelries, certificates, and so on. And they also provide advice of and help with financial matters. Now let us move to the next slide. Moving to the next slide, where we have past question here also. What is an advantage to a country of having an efficient commercial banking system? Now we are talking about commercial banking system here. Now it controls the money supply. Is that so? It enables investment. It encourages tax evasion. It discourages spending. Of course, commercial bank enable investment. Now that's that on that. Moving to the next slide. Moving to the next slide, where we have the role and importance of central bank. The functions of central bank are as follows. Now, the central bank acts as a banker to the government. That is, they made payment, government made payment out of the central bank account. At the same time, they also operate as a banker to the commercial bank. Of course, they help the commercial bank to settle debt. Yes, now we have they act as a lender of resource. Of course, they lend to banks, they lend to different banks, they lend to commercial bank when they are temporarily short of cash. They also manage national debt. Of course, the national debt is the total amount the government owes. That is, they also borrow on behalf of government, and they also issues bank notes. Of course, central bank is the one with issuing bank notes. And we have control the banking system. Of course, they also supervise the banking system, and they also represent the government at the meeting with other central bank of other countries. Moving to the next slide, where we have your past question. Now, what is not a function of central bank? According to what we just explained here, now let us check the option. What is not a function of central bank? It's lent to individual firms and consumers. It is the sole issuer of notes and coins. It is the lender of last resort to financial institutions. It manages the national debt for government. What is not the function of central bank? Of course, central bank doesn't lend to individual firms and consumers. They lend to government and commercial bank. Now, moving to the next past question here, we have what is the function of central bank. Now we are still on central bank. What do you think is the function of central bank among these options? We have providing bank accounts for individual. Is that so? Central bank is not dealing with individual. Collecting taxes, issuing currency, setting foreign trade. Of course, they issue currency. Now moving to the next past question here. We have a central bank act as a lender of last resort, especially in time of financial crisis. Of course, yes. What is the purpose of this function? Now, to remove failing bank from the financial system, is that so? To safeguard the profit of the banking system, is that so? To cover credit card debts of consumer rather, to provide liquidity to the banking system. What's supposed to be our answer? Of course, liquidity is the ability to make the customers demand, that is like cash, etc. Now, what should be our answer here? Of course, the purpose of this function is to provide liquidity to the banking system to help them to meet the customers' demand. Now we have one past question here also. A central bank, as we have done that. Now, which function does a central bank provide for the general public? Now we are talking we are saying the useful of central bank to the general public now. Let's check the options. Is it making loan? Are they making loan for general public? Of course, no. Providing overdrafts, issuing banknotes, accepting deposits. Of course, central bank is not accepting the deposits, but they issue banknotes. That's good. Moving to the next past question here. What can the central bank increase in order to reduce consumer borrowing? Now, what can the central bank increase in order to reduce consumer borrowing? Central bank want to reduce consumer borrowing. What do you think they can increase? Is it government spending, the exchange rate, the rate of interest, commercial bank deposits? Of course, it is the rate of interest. The higher the rate of interest, the lesser the consumer will be able to borrow. Of course, that is good. This will be the end of the class. Stay tuned to our website www.edubbey.com. See you in the next class.